Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. New Hampshire man accused of carrying loaded gun in bag at Logan Airport. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance.
A Salem man is accused of trying to bring a loaded gun through a TSA checkpoint at Logan Airport. The checkpoint X-ray found this gun in his carry-on bag yesterday. Massachusetts State Police confiscated the weapon and arrested the man on weapons charges. Remember, even if you have a concealed weapon permit, firearms cannot be carried onto an airplane in a carry-on bag.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. St. Paul's School graduate to return to New Hampshire to face sexual assault charges. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance.
Police are commending the survivors who came forward detailing allegations of sexual abuse.
The victims in this case are very brave. My detectives can attest to that, and I certainly can.
Concord police detectives have been working on the case since the survivors approached the school in June 2017. Authorities say the two survivors were the children of a St. Paul's school worker.
Oftentimes students live or interact closely with family members or faculty members that are employees or whatnot. So there's a very close group, a lot of interaction there, which allowed this suspect, Mr. Baker, in this instance, to have access to the young children.
Investigators and advocates alike are expressing relief that since Baker moved out of New Hampshire years ago, the clock on the statute of limitations essentially stopped ticking.
The passage of time in no way mitigates the harm done to these victims, and we hope that this is a step towards healing and towards justice.
The allegations of abuse came about a month before the New Hampshire Attorney General's office launched a criminal investigation of the school in July 2017, looking into multiple reports of sexual abuse spanning decades. The AG's office has since settled the matter with St. Paul's, having them hire an independent overseer. Meantime, in this case, the school released a statement saying it will continue to assist law enforcement with their prosecution. Now, after Baker's arraignment in Virginia tomorrow, police will then have a better idea on when he may be returned here to New Hampshire to answer to those charges. Meantime, if you or someone you know are a survivor of sexual abuse, you can find help and resources by calling the statewide sexual assault hotline.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Roof blown off Cog Railway display trains coach section. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance.
Check this out right here. The winds were so strong in Twin Mountain yesterday, the roof was actually blown off the Cog Railway information booth. See it there on your screen there on the left? Thanks to Keith to sending this photo to our U-Local Facebook group. Yeah, very gusty out there.
Okay, and there you go on that video. Wind topples tower on Sugarloaf summit. Take a look at the video.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance.
Okay, and there you go on that video. Strong winds toppled a communication tower on the summit at Sugarloaf Monday night, according to mountain officials. The tower is not owned by Sugarloaf, and the summit of the mountain was closed when it happened. Lebanon canine officer recognized for dedicated service. Take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
This season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance. Just
Lebanon canine officer being recognized for his work.
And the Vermont Canine Association gave the Dedicated Service Award to Lebanon officer Jeremy Perkins and his canine partner Blesk. Perkins has organized the Canine Awareness Day for the last 10 years, boosting financial assistance for the organization.
Summarizes Jeremy's dedication to not only our program, as he's been a handler for well over 10 years at this point, but also to their organization where he does a lot of training. He's a certified instructor.
The nonprofit helps raise money for over 50 teams across Vermont and New Hampshire. Pretty cool.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Very cool indeed. State Supreme Court affirms Speedway can hold country music festival. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
this season, Fairfield Kia is passing great savings on to you. Don't miss out on your chance to score.
Now it's official. After 2 years of legal challenges, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway will host a 3-day country music festival.
This is absolutely great news for music fans, for local businesses, for the entire state of New Hampshire. We have been working for several years on trying to put this together, and we've now officially got the green light to move forward.
Some neighbors sued to try blocking the concert, arguing a 1989 agreement didn't allow the Speedway to have concerts on property. But the state's highest court is siding with the track, saying that settlement doesn't apply to land that was bought over the last 30 years. One neighbor expressing disappointment, saying in a statement, "When we entered into this agreement years ago, we thought we were negotiating with a business, not a piece of land. Lawyers for the track have convinced the court otherwise." Meanwhile, the Speedway is now looking ahead.
Speedway Motorsports and New Hampshire Motor Speedway have a great history of putting on amazing fan-friendly events, and this will be just the same. We anticipate having some great musical acts and a lot of entertainment for our fans in the coming months.
As is the case with NASCAR races, music fans will be able to camp on site.
This will be, A-level stars within the country music scene. There will also, because this is a 3-day country music festival, there will be multiple acts on multiple days.
A date has not been set yet for the festival, but the Speedway says
Stay tuned. In Loudon, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Stay tuned for the Country Music Festival. Dow turns positive, erasing earlier losses. Stocks struggled to find direction on Tuesday as investors designated the release of weaker-than-expected Home Depot earnings, mixed economy data, and testimony from the top-ranked Federal Reserve's official. Cohen on Capitol Hill for dramatic testimony about Trump. The president's former fixer has 3 days of testimony ahead of him. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
Split-screen moment. As he sits down to dinner with Kim Jong-un Wednesday, his former fixer Michael Cohen will be center stage in Washington. 3 days of congressional testimony kick off today. Our senior congressional correspondent, Mary Bruce, is tracking all. And Mary, in that public testimony tomorrow, Cohen expected to take us behind the scenes with Donald Trump. He calls it a history of lying, racism, and cheating.
Yeah, George, Michael Cohen is about to pull back the curtain on President Trump, detailing what he says are these personal anecdotes, his first-hand accounts of how the president, he says, lied and cheated throughout his career. He's expected to detail the president's finances, including what he says are ways the president inflated and deflated his worth, at times to his own benefit. And George, for the first time publicly, sources tell us that Michael Cohen plans to accuse the president of criminal conduct while in office.
While in office, that's right. So they're going to present evidence. They say document, at least one document, which they say shows the president broke the law while in office. The biggest bombshell is expected to be around those hush money payments to Stormy Daniels, Karen McDougal.
Exactly, George, because remember that Michael Cohen implicated the president in a federal crime when he told prosecutors of those hush money payments that were made. The president has said that he denies these alleged affairs, that he didn't direct Cohen to arrange these payments, but now Michael Cohen will have a chance and a public stage in which to tell his side of the story.
And the prosecutors have said that as a matter of fact. Meantime, the House voting today to reject the president's emergency declaration on the border wall. We know it's going to pass the House. The big question, what happens in the Senate?
Yeah, George, this isn't just Democrats that are laying the groundwork for this unprecedented move to try and terminate the president's national emergency declaration. You also have some Republicans signaling that they are on board. And if this is able to pass through the House and the Senate, well, then it could set up the president to make his first ever veto. George.
Mary Bruce, thanks very much. I'll be anchoring our live coverage of Michael Cohen's public testimony along with our whole political team. That's tomorrow at 10 Eastern.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this afternoon edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all enjoyed watching and have a great rest of your day, everyone. And I'll see you back here this evening for another edition of the Riley King Newscast. And I have an afternoon news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.